Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, has put the Houston Texans on notice, warning that if they select anybody but him as the number one pick in the NFL draft, it'll be the worst decision the franchise has ever made. And I'm inclined to agree with the former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback on these grounds. First of all, the Houston Texans severely disappointed their fan base last year. They started out 2-0, coming off an offseason where they were slated to be a Super Bowl contender, and then let all the air out of the building, losing their last 14 straight games. Talk about disappointing. And a lot of it was because of the quarterback play with Matt Schaub and company. So in walks Jim O'Brien from Penn State, a guy who's not totally sold on Manziel, according to sources. Now, Jim O'Brien worked with Tom Brady, so he's used to that prototypical, semi-stationary pocket passer, as was shown at Penn State when he recruited Mecklenburg over there with the Nittany Lions. So when he comes to Houston, you would think he'd be inclined to draft Jake Bortles out of South Florida or Teddy Bridgewater from Louisville, but I think that would be the wrong move. Johnny Football is going to add enthusiasm and re-energize that city, that football team. This guy's got a winning spirit that you can't measure with a ruler. Who won the Super Bowl this year? Russell Wilson in the Seahawks, another small quarterback shorter than Manziel, also with big hands and a big heart. Look what Manziel did in that game against Duke, that incredible comeback in the bowl game. He's got that Joe Montana intangible. Now, yes, there's risk. There's no guarantee, especially at the quarterback position. When you use a number one pick on one, they usually go south. But you got to go for it if you're Houston. You played it safe a few years ago with Mario Williams. It paid off in the short run. Reggie Bush didn't adapt his game to the NFL right away, but he became a star and is still doing well. Where Mario Williams is over there in Buffalo, and the Texans never won anything with him. So you got to go for it. Pick Johnny Manziel if you're the Texans. It'll ignite the fan base. If you're Jim O'Brien, move in a different direction. As far as that whole situation where people believe you need a pocket passer to win the Super Bowl, well, that just went down the drain. And the only reason Colin Kaepernick didn't win it is because they fell 5 yards short the year before. And everybody overblew that situation, thinking, well, Joe Flacco, he's the way to go. What happened to them this year? Take the defense away, the whole team goes south. But I digress. Russell Wilson, Joe Montana, Johnny Manziel, that's the type of quarterback he is. Another little interesting comment made by Johnny Manziel was the fact that he'd be in the same division if Jacksonville picks him, which is very likely if they had the chance, being that they don't have a quarterback either. He says that Houston will have to play Jacksonville twice a year, and that chip on his shoulder, which he referred to as a Frito, will now become a Dorito. Now, I thought that was interesting, because there's not really that much difference in total mass or weight when you compare a Frito and a Dorito. So what's behind that little comment? Is he marketing himself? I think so. He thinks big, this guy. He sees Marshawn Lynch at the Super Bowl parade in Seattle tossing Skittles, becoming the spokesperson and signing a big deal as the spokesperson for Skittles. So he wants to represent something he loves to eat, Doritos. He's sincere. He doesn't want to represent Fritos. So he's taking the bull by the horns. Some teams might be scared about thinking, hey, this guy should be focused on football. But you don't have to worry about that. Just look at his body of work. He won the Heisman by having the heart of a lion. This guy, you can't take him out of a game. You tape him right up and throw him right back out there. He will not go to the locker room until he comes back and makes every effort to win that game. So, if you're Jim O'Brien, make the right decision. Go with Johnny Manziel at quarterback for the Houston Texans. That place will come alive and turn it around, just as Seattle did with Russell Wilson. In other NFL news, Jeremy Maclin reportedly said to the Philadelphia Inquirer that Philly is where he wants to be. Just imagine Jeremy Maclin on the other side of Deshaun Jackson in that fast-paced offense with LaShawn McCoy in the backfield and Chip Kelly calling the plays. We didn't get to see that because he's recovering from an ACL injury. Now, a lot's going to depend on what happens in the free agent market, which opens up next month. You have Eric Decker, maybe the first domino to fall, coming out of Denver. Edelman from the Patriots is a free agent, and of course Riley Cooper who the Eagles probably want to re-sign if they can get him at the right price, and he has a real rapport with quarterback Nick Foles. So we'll see where that goes, but it's good news that both the Eagles and Maclin seem to want to be wed to each other. He's a really good wide receiver. So there you have it. Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, the right pick for the Houston Texans. And Jeremy Maclin, his heart is still in Philadelphia.